So consideration in planning and performing of audit as it one requires. Requires audit to comply with the relevant ethical requirement, including those pertaining to independence and relating to financial statements or the audit statements. That is essay relevant to the audit. It is required auditors to comply with the each requirement as essay unless circumstances of the audit. What they say, the entire essay is not relevant to the requirement. It's not relevant because the conditional condition doesn't exist. In exceptional circumstances, the auditor may judge it necessary to depart of the relevant requirement of essay by performing alternate audit procedure to achieve the aim of the requirement. Application of the requirement of essay in the audit of the special purpose financial statement may require the special consideration of it. For example, essay 320 judgment of matters. That is a material to user of financial statement and based on the consideration of the common financial information need to be user approved. The case of audit of special financial information statement, however, the judgment is based on the consideration of the financial information need to be intended users. The case of special purpose financial information such as the prepared in accordance with the requirement of country contract management agree with the intended use threshold below the mentioned statement identified during the audit due to the character and otherwise required. Existence of threshold does not related to the auditor from the requirement of the material as a 320. Purpose of planning and performing of the audit special purpose financial statement. SC 260 requires audit to determine appropriate person in the entity's governance structure with whom to communicate. SC 260 revised note that the case all those strategic governance are involved in material managing entity and the application of the communication of requirement is modified to recognize the position, then the complete set of financial statement is prepared by the entity and the complete general purpose of financial statement prepared by the entity and and the person responsible for oversight and preparation of special purpose financial statement may not be the same as charged with governance responsible for the oversight of the preparation of those general purpose financial statement. Forming an opinion and the reporting consideration as some audit. When forming an opinion and reporting on a special purpose financial statement, the auditor shall apply the requirement of SA 700. Describing the applicable financial reporting framework. The revised SA 700 requires auditor to evaluate whether the financial statement are adequate referred and adequately referred to be described the applicable financial reporting framework. In the case of financial statements are prepared according to the provision of the contract, the auditor should evaluate whether the financial statements adequately describe the insignificant interpretation of the contract on which financial statements are based. SA 700 deals with the form and content of auditor report. In the case of auditor's report with special purpose financial statement, auditor report shall also consider the purpose of which financial statements are prepared or necessary to intend user or refer to the note of special purpose financial statement that contains information. The management has a choice of financial statement framework and the preparation of such financial statement explanation of the management responsibility for the preparation of financial statement shall also be reference to its responsibility for determination of the applicable financial reporting framework in acceptability in circumstances. Altering readers of the financial statements and prepared in accordance with the special purpose financial framework. The special purpose financial statements may be used for purpose of other than those for which they are intended. For example, a regulator may require certain entities to place a special purpose financial statement on a public record. To avoid misunderstanding, the auditor allows users of the auditor report that the financial statements are prepared in accordance with the special purpose framework and therefore may not be suitable for another purpose. A restriction on a distributed use. In addition to deal with the discourse about auditor may consider the appropriate to indicate auditors report to intended solely for specific user. Describe the laws and regulation. It may be achieved that the restriction of the distribution or distribution of the use of auditor report. The supplements of paragraph related the auditors may be expanded to include these other matters and the heading of modified accordingly. Srilata is one of the company. She is also of a professional work and audit a financial statement prepared specifically for meeting a requirement of a loan agreement the same period. Though she chose to accept the work and she made the mind disclose back the other matter paragraph the auditor report is issued by her. A specific engagement is appropriate possible. CA Lakshmi's prepared a draft of audit report, financial statement, prepared accordance to the financial reporting frame, contract of While Limited. She is drafted on unmodified opinion given the audit report. Besides, she has also drawn attention to the draft report, no case by this financial statement that describes the basis of accounting using the heading basis of accounting. How she does ensure the report has not been misused, draft suitable para and issued in the report of the bank. SA 805 Special Consideration Audit of the single financial statement and specific elements according to the items of financial statement. Standard on standard of auditing SA 100 to 1 of the series is submit to audit of financial statements and to adopt of necessary in circumstances. When applicable to audit of historical financial information, SA 605, SA 805 deals with special consideration in the application though side of auditing to the audit of the single financial statement or a specific element or account or item of financial statement. A single financial statement or a specified elements account of items of the financial statement may be prepared in accordance with the general or special purpose framework. In the prepared in accordance with the special purpose framework, SA 7 and 800 applies to the audit. SA 800 does not apply to the report of the component auditor issued as a result of the work performed in the financial state information. The content of the request of the group engagement team. The purpose of the audit groups of financial information. The objective auditors, when applying SA, it is an audit, as its audit, it is address appropriately the special consideration that is relevant to the accept of the engagement, planning and performance of the engagement, and forming an opinion, reporting, but not the purpose of expressing an opinion or the effectiveness of the entities included the company. What is a special purpose, single purpose statement? The single financial statement is distinguished from the complete set of financial statement. For example, single cash flow statement is a single financial statement. What is an element of financial statement? As an element of financial statement is an element means element, account or items of financial statement. For example, trade receivable, cash or bank. A single financial statement is an single financial statement or a single specific element of financial statement include the relevant notes ordinarily comprise a summary of significant accounting policy or other explanatory information relevant to the financial information of the element. Consideration when accepting as it is an applicable SA. SA 200 requires auditor to comply with all the SA relevant to the audit. In the case of audit of single financial statement, specific element or specific financial statement in the financial statement, this requirement applies irrespective of whether the auditor is also engaged in the audit of entities or complete set of financial statements. If the auditor is not also engaged in the audit of the entity, complete set of financial statement, the auditor should determine whether the audit of single financial statement or the specific element of the financial statement is according to the standard of auditing in practice. The SIT requires the auditor to comply with the relevant ethical requirement, including those pertaining to the independent writing of the statement, audit engagement. That is, all the standard of auditing is relevant to the audit. It is also required the auditor to comply with each requirement of SA unless it circumstances audit, and therefore SA is not relevant for the requirement of not relevant because of the condition and the condition does not exist. The exception circumstances of the auditor. Or may judge necessary to depart from the relevant requirement of SA by providing alternate audit procedure to achieve the item of requirement. The complaints with the requirement of SA. The relevant to the audit of single financials or of the specific element of financial statement may not be practical when the auditor is not also engaged in the audit of entities complete set of financial statement. In this case, auditor often does not have the same understanding of the entity and its company, including internal control and auditors who audits the entity's complete set of financial statement. Auditor also does not have the audit evidence about the general quality of the audit accounting records or the accounting information that would be acquired in the entity or in the audit of the entity's complete set of financial statement. Accordingly, auditor may need to further evidence to corroborate audit evidence and acquired from the accounting records. In the case of audit of specific elements of the financial statement, certain SA required audit work that may be disappropriate to the element being audited. For example, although the requirement of SA 570 is likely to be relevant to the circumstances of the audit of the schedule of accounts receivable, comply with the requirement may not be practically because the audit report required. If the auditor concludes that the audit is a single financial statement or a specific element financial statement is according with standard of audit, may not be practical. So auditor may discuss with the management whether another type of engagement might be more practicable. Acceptability of the financial reporting framework. SA 210 requires auditor to determine the acceptability of financial reporting framework. applies to the preparation of financial statement. In the case of the audit of the single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement, it may include whether the application of the financial reporting framework it result in preparation that provides adequate disclosure to enable the intended user to understand the information conveyed in the financial statement or to any element or the elements or the effect of material transaction depends on the information conveyed in the financial statements or the elements. The single financial statement or a specific element of a financial statement may be prepared in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework that is applied based on the financial reporting framework established by the authorized or recognized standard setting organization for the preparation or a complete set of financial statements. If this is the case, determining of the acceptability of applicable financial reporting may involve consideration. The framework includes are required of the framework of which based that relevant to the presentation of financial statements or specific elements of financial statement that provides adequate disclosure. Consideration when planning and performing an audit. In planning and performing the audit of single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement, the auditor might adopt all the standard of auditing to the audit of or necessary in the circumstances of the engagement. When auditing a single financial statement or a specific element of the financial statement in conjunction with the audit of the entity's complete set of financial statement, auditor may be able to use audit evidence obtained as part of the audit of the entity's complete set of financial statement. In the audit of financial statement or the element, the standard of auditing, however, requires auditor to plan and perform the audit of the financial statement and the elements to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence on which based on the opinion on the financial statement or the element. Individual financial statement that comprise a complete set of financial statement, and many of these elements or those financial statements include its write notes or enter later accordingly. When auditing a single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement, auditor may also be able to consider financial statements or the element of isolation. Consequently, auditor may need to perform procedures in relation to the interrelated items to meet the objective of the audit. Furthermore, the material determined in a single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement may be lower than the materiality determined by the entity's complete set of financial statement. This will affect the nature, timing, extent of the audit procedure and the evaluation of the uncorrected mistakes. Form an opinion. SA 210 requires all three terms of the audit engagement include the expected form of any reports to be issued by the auditors. In the case of the audit of a single financial statement or from a specific element of financial statement, the auditor should consider whether the expected form or opinion is appropriate in circumstances. And the form of opinion to be expressed by the auditor depending upon the applicable financial reporting framework or any applicable laws or regulation or in accordance with the revised SA 700. When expressing an unmodified opinion in complete set of financial statement prepared in accordance with the fair presentation framework, the auditor opinion, unless otherwise required by the law and regulation, uses one of the following phases. The financial statements are fairly presented fairly in all material aspects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework or in the framework. The financial statement gives true and fair view in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. When expressing an unmodified opinion in complete set of financial statement prepared in compliance with the compliance framework, the auditor opinion states that financial statements are prepared in all material aspects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. In the case of single financial statement or a specific element of a financial statement, then applies financial reporting framework may not be explicitly addressing the presentation of financial statement or the element. It may be the case when the applicable financial reporting framework is based on the financial reporting framework established by the authorized or recognized standard setting organization for the preparation or complete set of financial statement. The auditor thereby consider whether the expected form or opinion is appropriate in light of the applicable financial reporting framework. Factors that affect the auditor consideration as it whether the user faces fairly presented in the material respect or give true and fair view or auditor opinion include. Where the applicable financial reporting framework is explicitly or implicitly restricted the preparation of a presentation of complete set of financial statements. Whether a single financial statement or a specific elements of financial statements will comply fully with each other requirement of the framework relevant to the particular financial statement or a particular element, and the presentation of the financial statement or a specific element of the financial statements include related notes and disclosure. If necessary to achieve the fair presentation, provide disclosure beyond the specifically required of the framework or in exceptional circumstances, depart from the requirement of the framework. Auditor discusses as the expected form of opinion, the matter of professional judgment. It may be affected by whether the user faces presently fair or all material aspects are given true and fair view. The auditor opinion is a single financial statement of a specific element of a statement prepared in accordance with the fair presentation framework and generally accepted in a particular jurisdiction. Forming an opinion or reporting consideration. When forming an opinion or reporting a single bank statement or a specific element of the bank statement, auditor should apply SA 700 adopted necessary in circumstances of the engagement. If the auditor undertakes an engagement to report the single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement in conjunction with the engagement to audit the entity's complete set of financial statement, the auditor shall express a separate opinion for this engagement. An audit on a single financial statement or an audit specific element of financial statement may be published together with the entity's audited complete set of financial statement. If the auditor, the auditor concludes that the presentation of single financial statement or the specific element of financial statement does not differentiate it sufficiently from the complete set of financial statement, auditor shall ask the management to rectify the situation. Auditor shall also differentiate the opinion on a single financial statement or a specific element financial statement from the opinion on the complete set of financial statement. The auditor shall also issue the auditor report containing opinion of single financial statement or on a specific element of financial statement until satisfied with the differentiation. If the opinion of the auditor report or an entity's complete set of financial statement is modified or the report includes emphasis of meta paragraphs or other meta para, the auditor shall determine the effect that it may have on the auditor's report on the single financial statement or on a specific element of the financial statement. When deemed appropriate, auditor shall modify the opinion on a single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement and include emphasis of meta paragraph or other meta paragraph in the auditor's report accordingly. If the auditor concludes that necessary to express adverse opinion or disclaim the opinion, the entity's complete set of financial statements as a whole or revised SA 705 does not permit the auditor to include the same auditor report or unmodified opinion in a single financial statement. It forms a part of financial statement or a specific element that forms a part of the financial statement. This is because of the unmodified opinion that contradict the adverse opinion or disclaimer of opinion, the entity's complete set of financial statements. When an auditor concludes that it is necessary to express an adverse opinion or a disclaimer of opinion on the entity's complete set of financial statement as a whole, but the context of separate audit of financial specific element that does include both those financial statements. The auditor nevertheless consider it is necessary to express an unmodified opinion or the elements. Auditor shall only to so him. Auditor is not prohibited by law or regulation for doing so. The opinion is expressed the auditor opinion that is not published together with the auditor's report containing adverse opinion or disclaimer opinion. The specific element does not constitute a major portion of the entity's complete set of financial statement. The auditor shall not express an unmodified opinion in a single financial statement of a complete set of financial statement if the auditor has expressed an adverse opinion or disclaimer of opinion in a complete set of financial statement as a whole. This is the case even the auditor's report is complete set of financial is not published together with the auditor's report containing the adverse opinion or disclaimer opinion. This is because single financial statement is deemed to be constitute a major portion of the financial statement. ISA 700 requires auditor in forming an opinion to evaluate whether the financial statements required for adequate disclosure enable the intended user to understand the entity effect of material transaction event on information conveyed in the financial statement. In the case of single financial statement or a specific element of financial statement, it is important that the financial statements of the element, including relevant notes, is viewed in requirement of the applicable financial reporting framework. Provides adequate disclosure to enable the intended user to understand the information conveyed in the financial statement or the element or the effect of a material transaction or event on the information conveyed in the financial statement of the event. Even when the notified opinion of the entity is complete set of financial statement. Emphasis on the matter paragraph or other matter paragraph does not relate to auditor financial statement or the audit of the element. Auditor may still deem appropriate or refer to modification in other matter paragraph in auditor's report on a financial statement or the element because of the auditor judges it to be relevant to the user's understanding to the auditor financial statement or of the auditor's element of the related auditor report. The auditor report on an entity's complete financial statement expressing a disclaimer of opinion regarding the result of operation and cash flow when relevant on the unmodified opinion regarding the state of affairs of permanent. Since the disclaimer of opinion is being issued with respect of this result of operation and the cash flow only and when requires the financial statements are. SA7 to SA705, SA805, 800 does not override the requirement of SA, nor does the purport to deal all special consideration that may be relevant to the circumstances of engagement. Examples of the specific element accounts of the item financial statement are the accounts receivable, allowance and doubtful accounts receivable, inventory, liability of accrued benefit of private pension plan, the record value of identified intangible assets or the liability of incurred but not recorded, claim of insurance portfolio including related parties, a schedule of external managed assets or income of a private pension plans including related notes. Schedule of non-tangible asset including related notes. Schedule of disbursement in relation to the lease property including estimated notes. CSOD as an auditor of the financial statements entities prepare accordance with the financial statement of conduct. He also offers an audit of trade receivable appearing in above statement. Can accept engagement, discuss a brief outline of audit approach in such situation. CAG is often appointed to audit of a trade receivable statement of a company. However, the financial statement prepared by a company is supposed to be audit of CA Jagadish discussed with practically difficult for CA to perform its audit. SA8 an engagements to report on summary financial statement. SA210 deals with the auditor's responsibility, even understanding an engagement to report on the summary financial statement derived from the financial statement audited in accordance with the standard of auditing by the same auditor. When do summary financial statements reflect? Summary financial statement reflect historic financial information that is derived from financial statement but contains less details than financial statements. While still providing a structured presentation content with the provided by the financial statement of the entities, economic resources and obligation are put into time with change in therein for the period of time. Engagement acceptance. An auditor shall accordingly accept the engagement and report the summary financial statement in accordance with operating to 10 operating terms of audit entity. When auditors engage in the conduct of the audit according to the SAL of auditing, the financial statement from whom summary financial statements are derived, SA 10. If the auditor has not also audited the financial statement from which the summary financial statement is derived, the auditor shall not have necessary knowledge to discharge his responsibility in relation to the summary of financial statement in accordance with the standard of audit. Herein lies the rationale behind the requirement that engagement to report on summary financial statement shall ordinarily be accepted when the auditor has engaged to conduct the audit of financial statement from which the summary financial statement is derived. Before accepting the engagement to report on a summary financial statement, auditor shall determine whether the applied criteria are applicable. The appeal criteria criteria applied by the management in preparation of summary financial statement. Management is responsible for determining of the information that needed to be reflected in summary financial statement so that they are consistent. It is all the material aspect. This is a fair summary of the auditor financial statement because the summary financial statements by the nature contain aggregated financial information and limited disclosure. There is an increased risk that may not be contained information necessary, so it not be misleading in the circumstances. The risk increases when established criteria for a preparation of summary financial statement do not exist. Factor affecting the auditor determining of capability of applied criteria, nature of the entity, purpose of the summary of financial statement, information needed to be introduced of the summary financial statement, and whether the applied criteria will apply in the summary of financial statement that are not misleading circumstances. Factor affecting the auditor's determination of purpose of summary of financial statement. Information needed to be intended user of the summary financial statement. Whether the applied criteria will result in summary financial statements that's not misleading. The criteria of the criteria for preparation of summary financial statement may be established by the authorized recognized standard setting organization by law or regulation. Similar to the case of financial statement explained SA 210, in many other cases, auditor may presume that the criteria are acceptable, where the established criteria for preparation of summary financial statement to go. not exist, and criteria may be developed by the manager, for example, based on the practice in the practical industry. If an auditor concludes that the applied criteria are unacceptable or unable to obtain agreement or the management discussed above, an auditor shall not accept the engagement to report on a summary financial statement unless required by law and regulation to do so. An engagement conducted in accordance with the law and regulation does not comply with standard auditing. Accordance with the auditor's report on the summary financial statements does not indicate that the engagement was conducted in accordance with standard auditing. Auditor shall include appropriate reference to the fact of the terms of engagement. Auditors shall also consider the effect that it may have the engagement audit the financial statement from which a summary of a statement is derived. Adequate disclosure of the summarized nature of the summary financial statement and identify the audited financial statement may be, for example, provide a title of summary financial statement prepared for the audited financial statement for the year ended 31st March 2024. Obtain agreement for the management that acknowledges and understands its responsibility for the preparation of summary financial statement in accordance with the applicable criteria. To make an audited financial statement apply to the intended user of the summary financial statement without due difficulty. If a law or regulation provides that the audited financial statement need not be made available to the intended user of the summary financial statement, and establish a criteria for preparation of summary financial statement to describe the law or regulation in summary of financial statement. Auditor evaluation when the auditor financial statements are available to the intended user of the summary financial statement without undue difficulty is affected the factor and the whether summary financial statement describe clearly from whom or from the where the auditor financial statements are available. Auditor financial statements are public records. Management establish a process by which the intended user of summary financial statement can obtain ready access of auditor financial statement. To include the auditor report on a summary financial statement in any document that contains summary financial statement that indicates auditors are reported. Agree with the management or form of opinion to express a summary financial statement. Nature of process of performance by the auditor. The auditor shall perform the following procedure and any other procedure that auditor shall consider necessary as the basis of auditor's opinion on a summary financial statement. Evaluate whether the summary financial statement adequately disclose the summarized nature and identify the auditor financial statement. When summary financial statements are not complied by the auditor financial statement, evaluate whether they are described clearly from whom or where the auditor financial statements are available. A law and regulation specify that the auditor financial statement need not be made available to the internal user or summary financial statement and establish a criteria for preparation for the summary financial statement. Evaluate whether the summary financial statements are adequately disclose the applicable criteria, applied criteria. Compare the summary financial statement with the related information in the auditor financial statement to determine whether the summary financial statement agree with and can be recalculated from the related information in the auditor financial statement. Evaluate whether the summary financial statements are prepared in accordance with applied criteria. Evaluate the review or purpose of summary financial statements and whether the summary financial statements contains information necessary and or at the appropriate level of aggregation so it is not be misleading in circumstances. Evaluate whether the auditor financial statements are available to the internet user of the summary financial statement without the undue difficulties unless a law or regulator provide that they need not be made available and estimates a criteria for provision of the summary financial statement discussed under. Form an opinion. When the auditor has concluded that unmodified opinion of the summary financial statement is appropriate, auditor opinion shall, unless otherwise required by law or regulation, use one of the following features. The summary of financial statements are consistent in all material aspects with the auditor financial statement in accordance with the applied criteria. The summary of financial statements are fair summary of the auditor financial statements in accordance with the applied criteria. If the law and regulation prescribe the work of the opinion is summary financial statement in terms that are different from those described above, auditor shall apply the procedure discussed earlier and any further procedure necessary to enable the auditor to express and prescribed opinion. Evaluate whether such a summary auditor financial statement must misunderstand the auditor's opinion on the summary financial statement. If so, whether the additional explanation of the auditor report on the summary financial statement can mitigate possible misunderstanding. If auditor concludes that additional explanation, auditor report on summary financial statement cannot mitigate possible misunderstanding, auditor shall not apply accept the engagement unless required by law and regulation to do so. The engagement conducted in accordance with the law and regulation does not comply with standard auditing, and accordingly, the auditor report summary financial statement shall not indicate the engagement was conducted in accordance with the standard of auditing. Auditor report on summary financial statement. Elements on the auditor report. Auditor sum report on summary financial statement shall include the following elements. Title clearly indicates it as the report of independent auditor. Addressing. The addressee of the summary financial statement is not the same as evaluate the appropriateness use of different addresses. A factor that may affect the auditor's evaluation of appropriateness of addressing of the summary financial statement includes the terms of engagement, nature of engagement, and the purpose of financial summary financial statement. Introduction paragraph. Introduction. The identify the summary financial statement on which the auditor is reporting, include title of each statement, including summary financial statement. When the auditor is aware of the summary financial statement, will be including in the documents that contains other information. Auditor may consider if that form and presentation allows. Identifying the page number on which summary financial statements are presented and helps the reader to identify the summary financial statements on which the auditor's report related. Identifies the auditor's financial statement. Refer the financial report on the auditor financial statement. Date of the report on the case other than the auditor financial statement contains modified opinion, emphasis of matter paragraph, other matter paragraph. The fact that unmodified opinion is expressed on the auditor financial statement. If the date of auditor report on the summary financial statement is later than the date of auditor report on the auditor financial statement, state that the summary financial statements and auditor financial statement do not reflect the effect of events that occurred subsequent to the date of auditor report on the auditor financial statement. A statement indicates a summary financial statement do not contains all the disclosure required by the financial statement framework applied in the preparation of auditor financial statement, and that reading the summary financial statements are not substitute for the reading of auditor financial statement. Describe the management responsibility for summary of financial statement, explaining the management